from the Daytona International Speedway, CBS Sports is pleased to bring you live the 1988 Busch Clash. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Economaki. In auto racing, the driver who was fastest in the qualifying rounds wins the #1 starting place, the coveted pole position. And today's rich 20-lap race is for NASCAR's fastest men of 1987, an elite group of pole position winners. Let's meet them. Starting last with a tough row to hoe is Harry Gant. Harry, you got a long way. Good luck to you. And a man who was Rookie of the Year a couple of years ago from the Midwest, Alan Kulwicki. Sharp-looking paint job, Alan. Have a good drive. Then we have veteran campaigner Morgan Shepherd, whose talents are finally being recognized by those in power. Have a good one, Morgan. And then the man who was Rookie of the Year and on his way to stardom, a second-generation star, and Davey Allison. Davey, have a good drive. Dad's right there. Right? Going to be watching?
Got to get after him.
That's the way. And the proud father of Davey Allison, a former champion and a former Clash winner, Bobby Allison. This is going to be a family affair, Bobby?
Well, I hope so. Davey's running good, and maybe we can run pretty good.
Well, good. Have a good drive. And then next in line is a man who changed teams during the winter. He's driving a car he's never raced before, former champion Benny Parsons. Easy today, Benny?
Oh, no, it's not going to be easy at all.
Okay, next in line is the man who won this race last year, the defending champion, and he did it from the pole position, Bill Elliott. Bill, how tough is it going to be from 6th place today?
Well, it's going to be tough, but we hope for a good, safe race anyway.
We'll be watching. Have a good one. All right, next in line, a former champion and another man who has won this Clash, car number 11, Terry Labonte. Warming up for you, Terry?
Just right.
That's right. Have a good drive, Terry. And then another Midwesterner who's making it big in Southern stock car racing from St. Louis, Rusty Wallace. You ready for it, Rusty?
Sure am, Chris. It's going to be a good day. The car's running good. It's a new Pontiac, so we'll give it a whirl.
He always gets the commercial in. And then here's the young man who startled everybody yesterday. Also from St. Louis area, Ken Schrader, who put this car on the pole for the Daytona 500 yesterday. Kenny, you ready for this one?
We sure think we are. We're going to get out there and get in the middle of it, that's for sure.
Have a good one. And then, now here he is, the national champion, man of the hour and driver of the year, Dale Earnhardt, a 2-time Clash winner. Dale, you ready for this on this cold day?
Been ready, Chris. Been ready for a year.
Dale, there's no love lost between you and the guy on the pole. Is that going to affect how you drive today?
I don't think so. You know, we're in one line and he's in the other, and depends on which line gets the jump. Last year, the outside line was the fastest on the start, so we'll see what happens here.
We'll be watching, Dale. Have a good luck. And here's the man on the pole, a man who had a tough year last year. He won the IROC championship, Jeff Bodine. Jeff, you know, you and Dale have not been getting along too well. We're going to see any skirmishing on the track today?
What did he say?
Oh, no, come on.
No, I hope not. No, Dale and I, we're just tough competitors, and when you have two tough guys together, they're going to bump and scrape a little bit.
Okay,
we might see a little today.
We're on a tight schedule. Good luck, Jeff. There should one man who belongs in this lineup isn't. Tim Richmond. And for more on that story, let's go topside now to my CBS broadcast colleague, Ken Squire.
Chris, 1 year ago, Tim Richmond qualified for this race and missed it. It was serious pneumonia. This year, he is missing the race again after qualifying. It's just as serious. NASCAR made this release yesterday. Tim Richmond has been suspended indefinitely following a urinalysis test administered under the guidelines of NASCAR's substance abuse policy. Richmond tested true positive for a prohibited substance covered under the NASCAR substance program. He was tested and submitted to the test on Thursday. The test was given by Dr. Forrest S. Tennant on Friday, and the release was made yesterday. Just a few hours ago, I talked to Tim Richmond here in Daytona, and this was his reaction.
It came back. He said it was positive for 2 substances, and they had no choice but to suspend me. I mean, I would bet you any amount of money that they would give anything had they not taken this test, because now they can't let me on the track until, you know, if I was to go out on the track, hurt someone or whatever, and it be found out that they were aware of this test prior to going in, then, you know, they would. So I understand their position here. I've just maintained you've made a mistake, I've made mistakes in my life, meaning that there's been a mistake made on this drug test somehow or another. I am not guilty of it.
Tim, have you used drugs or prohibited substances in 1988?
No, I have not.
At any time while you were a Winston Cup driver?
No, I have not.
Tim Richmond submitted to a second test last night. No conclusion yet. He says he will be vindicated. For more on the story and a driver's overview, let's go to pit road. Mike Joy is standing by.
Thank you, Ken. I'm with Darrell Waltrip, former national driving champion. Your reaction to NASCAR's drug testing policy and bringing that to the sport?
Well, it's something that I think everybody needs to realize. It came from within. The competitors asked for it. The competitors for the last 2 years have said, we want a drug testing program. The fans didn't make us do it. The sponsors didn't make us do it. NASCAR was reluctant to do it. This is something that that could happen, you know. We knew that there was a possibility that someday somebody might get caught at in one of these situations. It has happened. I think we'll just have to wait and see the outcome of Tim's situation. I got to say personally that Tim being here and trying to run the race and the things that went on around him being down here, you know, the drug test is a good time to have it in effect.
Back up to Ken Squire.
Just about ready to have Hoyt Axton fire this race up and get it underway. It's just 50 miles, 20 laps that will be run. Hoyt Axton, the well-known
and now,
country
ladies
singer,
and gentlemen,
ready to give the command to send these cars on their way.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Firing up for the first major event of the weekend here in Speed Weeks 1988. Ned Jarrett will be alongside to bring you a good background on what's going on here today. Ned, as these cars fire up, what do you think we're going to see?
I think that we're going to see some very close racing, Ken, but they're running some 10 to 15 miles an hour slower this year than they ran last year because of a 1-inch carburetor restrictor plate that is required by NASCAR. So I think that drafting will come back into play more than we have seen it in recent years.
It's very windy. That could be a factor. 50 miles, 20 laps, $230,000 at stake. The fastest stock car race in the world coming up next on CBS. After temperatures in the 80s, we're down to 60 degrees today. We have a very stern wind out of the north, gusting to 35 miles per hour, which could be a real factor as you see that the flags have been starched out pretty well here today. They run for pretty good money in this race as the field begins to roll out and get set for a start. Here's the prize money for which they are participating in this very short, approximately 15-minute long event. 50 grand to win, that's a lot of money in the old days, Ned.
It really is. In fact, that's more than I would usually win in a season.
And that $21,000 for second tells it all. Then there are bonuses in this race as well. $10,000 for leading lap 5, $15,000 at the midpoint, and a 10 grand bonus at lap 15. The race record for this race goes back just a year at an average speed of 197.802. I don't think we'll see that now.
I don't think that we will see a new record set today because of the reduced speed as a result of the carburetor restrictor plate that we mentioned earlier.
All right, let's take one more look at the starting lineup for this 10th annual Busch Clash here at the Daytona International Speedway. On the pole out of Chemung, New York comes Jeff Bodine, the 1986 Daytona 500 winner and second here a year ago. Dale Earnhardt flanks him in that big black machine. The man in black this year, number 3. There's Chevrolets first and second. In row number 2, Ken Schrader is there, the man who sits on the pole for next week's 30th annual Daytona 500. Then Rusty Wallace, his Pontiac is qualified in 4th. Starting 5th, Terry Labonte, who won this race in 1985, and beside him is Bill Elliott, last year's winner at that record speed. Benny Parsons starts in 7th in a replacement car. They had brought a car just for this event, and now they put him in a second car, one they'll run next week as well. Starting 8th is Bobby Allison, the 82 winner. Then in 9th, a rookie in this race, that's his son, Davey Allison, winner of 2 races a year ago, just 26 years old. Starting 10th is Morgan Shepherd in a Buick automobile. And then in the 11th position, Alan Kulwicki. What a story on this man from Wisconsin in a Ford. And rounding out the field is Harry Gant in the Hal Needham car. Completing the first of the 2 preliminary laps to this, the Busch Clash. Davey Allison is in this event for the very first time, and we spoke to Davey earlier about this race and to Dale Earnhardt about their feelings on the event.
I think this race is considered an all-star race, and to come out here and be able to win the Busch Clash has got to be a tremendous accomplishment in anybody's book. You're racing against Dale Earnhardt, Bill Elliott, Bobby Allison, Morgan Shepherd, Rusty Wallace, all the best guys in the business. And to be in there as a part of it, it's just, you know, I want to win it and say, okay, I beat all these guys. I guess I've got as much a desire to win this race, or more desire, than any race I've ever been in.
I think everybody's going to be wanting to get to second or third position. That's going to be the key slot, I think. From drafting tests we've done, I think it's going to take a two-car team to go by the guy in front of them. It's going to work out to a situation where you're going to need some help. And on the last lap, nobody's going to help anybody, and it's going to be a shuffle.
Half a lap to a start. Only two rookies in this clash, Ken Schrader and Davey Allison. And they are the front row for next Sunday's Daytona 500. Taking a look at the statistic on the past as you see the cars moving into turn number 3.
Ken, it will be interesting to see how much of effect the draft will have on these cars now that they're running slower. It's the opinion of most people in the sport that the drafting technique will come back more than we've seen in recent years. The only thing that might nullify that is the sleek body designs now. They don't open up as big a pocket of air as we saw when drafting was so prevalent several years ago. We're about ready to go.
5 Chevrolets, 4 Fords, a Pontiac, and 2 Buicks comprise the field for the 10th annual Busch Clash. Pace car is in. Field is ready to go. Coming down for a start on the brakes. Earnhardt jumps it. He's away. Wallace comes with him. On the inside, Jeff Bodine falling back 2 car lengths. Field moving into turn number 1. First time out. From 80 miles an hour, they come up to speed here. Flat footing around turns 1 and 2. Bodine back into second spot. Wallace falls to third. Elliott is in fourth. Now Bodine. Jeff Bodine on the bottom side going for the lead. Midway down the back straightaway first time.
It's a surprise he was able to do that in the turn, Ken. He really came off of that second turn.
Engine prepared now on car number 5 by Waddell Wilson. One of the masters of putting machinery together that really flies on any speedway. So Bodine is out in front. Dale Earnhardt, winner of 11 races last year, lies in second spot. Here they come, completing lap number 1. And as they come to the strike, it is Bodine first, Earnhardt second, Wallace third. Ken Schrader is in fourth. Bill Elliott is fifth. 19 remaining.
We see Bobby Allison on the inside of Terry Labonte trying to make a move there. And as they run side by side, the first 5 cars are beginning to pull away a little bit.
Back straightaway, that front 5 gets about a 10, 20 car length advantage now over the rest of the field. There you see them, and Elliott staying right there with the Ford. Interval first to 12th, 1 and 9/10 seconds last time by. Taking a look at that second group, there's the 82 winner Terry Labonte right there, and Davey Allison directly behind him. That is 6th and 7th spot.
And Ken, just a moment ago, Davy's dad, Bobby, was racing side by side with Terry Labonte. He came up and just blew by his dad and dropped him back a couple of positions on the racetrack.
Starting last, still running last, is the Harry Gant, number 33.
The last lap was turned at 46.45 seconds. That's over 193 miles an hour, about the qualifying speed that Ken Schrader used to win the pole with yesterday for the Daytona 500.
And now you see that flock of 5 automobiles contending for the lead, and there is a bigger interval developing back to that 6th place car. Earnhardt staying right there, apparently where he wants to be. And remember that Earnhardt and Bodine have had at it on several occasions. That's a Ford Thunderbird in the back of that pack, Bill Elliott. And then you see that interval back to the 6th place car, where lies Terry Labonte. In 7th, Davey Allison. 8th, Morgan Shepherd. 9th, Bobby Allison. 10th, Benny Parsons. 11th, Alan Kulwicki, and Gant out back as we complete the 3rd lap. 3 down.
And they're picking up speed. The last lap was turned at 46.22 of a second, which means that they're running over 194, close to 195 miles an hour now.
Jeff Bodine, making his 6th start, stays out in front. He had said he wanted to stay in front all the way through it, did not want to come off the point. Earnhardt had said the place to be was in 2nd or 3rd. Checking a lap for you here as they come back through turns 3 and 4 on the east end through that 31-degree banking. That second group of cars is far enough away, they're going to have trouble catching up out here.
They are, but they're working good together. They've gotten themselves in a line, and that's the best way to pick up speed. If you try to pull out and pass someone else, well, that's not the way to do it. You lose a lot of speed, as we saw a little bit earlier, but they're not gaining on the front five.
That's an incredible mark they just had up there as a graphic. I even wonder if that's totally accurate, that 200-mile-plus-an-hour reading. It's 0.8 of a second from the 5th place back to the 6th place. I would question that with what they've been running.
Yes, I think the 200 mile an hour, the second part was okay, but the 200 miles an hour, I don't think they're running quite that fast now.
You saw up in the 7th spot Morgan Shepherd's cars. You look at 5th, 6th, and 7th. There's that interval, 0.8 of a second between the 5th place car and Terry Labonte back there in 6th.
And
Elliott holding on.
That computed to just over 194 miles per hour.
5 laps now complete. 5 down. And you can give $5,000 bonus to Jeff Bodine.
And it's interesting that Dale Earnhardt didn't even try to make a move to get that bonus. I think he's sitting where he wants to be to try to win the race.
6 straight years Bodine has been in this event, and finally, after 2 4th places in 85 and 86, pulled himself up to 2nd last year in a dramatic battle to the finish in this event with Bill Elliott.
He had spun out earlier in the race and managed to come back and finish in 2nd place, so he did make a very dramatic drive.
Meanwhile, this is Dale Earnhardt making his 6th start, and that second group of cars is definitely closing up on the front 5.
They are. They have moved in close enough now to pick up the draft, so we're going to have a 9-car draft instead of a 5-car.
And that man back in the 9th position is Bobby Allison. Sandwiched in the middle of all that is his 26-year-old son. And there you see Davey Allison, a leading contender, and he will be carrying one of the CBS onboard cameras live in our coverage starting at noon Eastern next Sunday of the Great American Race.
Bill Elliott just made a great move moving around Kenny Schrader on the outside as they came off of turn 2. A very bold move.
Well, here's the field back into 3, and you notice down on the bottom of the racetrack the yellow and white Hendrick colors, and here comes the Richard Childress, that big black machine on the outside. Marauding right against the wall, getting pressed tightly in there. Thought for a moment there might be contact, and Rusty Wallace up on the high side is able to maintain.
And Jeff Bodine is caught down by himself on the inside. They're just driving right past him. Nothing he can do about it.
He is out of the draft and falling back. Number 5, Bodine on the inside. We saw him before just overhaul from the inside on the start. Now there are 7 laps of 20 complete.
And he cannot find a place to get back in line, Ken. He is just going from the front to the back all in one lap. He's going from 1st to 9th position.
Dale Earnhardt, who has won this race on 2 previous occasions. Only 2 men have won it twice. Quickly, let's go to Mike Joy.
I'm with Darrell Waltrip. Can we wave goodbye to Jeff Bodine?
Yeah, he just, he just committed the unforgivable sin. He got out of line in the draft. Now Schrader's out of line, and that's the thing. They don't have the power to pull themselves along beside another car. So when they fall out of line, they're going to go to the back end and have to start all over. Jeff will get back there. Maybe somebody will mess up and he'll get a shot at it again. But right now, it's an awful good race. I think Earnhardt used a lot of patience just then and waiting on Bodine to do something, and he was able to take the lead. I like Davey Allison, and I love Bill Elliott, number 9.
If you were out there right now, would you jump out of line?
No, sir. You'd have to knock me out of line.
Now, Darrell's the guy who has to sit inside while his kids are out playing because he didn't do his homework. He didn't win a Busch pole last year, and so misses the Clash for the first time in its 10-year history.
Davey Allison up to 4th on the outside as he wheels that car around, and now there's another challenge being made on his position. A gigantic crowd is out here today on a rather brisk afternoon in Daytona Beach. There you see the 2 leaders trying to pull away as Bill Elliott is pulling up, and the surprise to me is the Schrader car. Looked like he fell out of line, but he's staying right there in 3rd spot now.
If anyone can do it, he might just be the one that can, because that car is awfully strong, as he proved yesterday that the team has the car put together for fast running and by winning the pole. But now, as a result of them running side by side, look how far that Earnhardt and Wallace have been able to move away.
Halfway this time by. Earnhardt in front and Wallace in 2nd. Then back in 3rd is Schrader, who has fended off a lot of people and looked like he was out of the line. He's got some horses to play with.
$15,000 bonus coming up here if Earnhardt can hold on, and it looks like he will.
As they come to the stripe, the man back in 9th position, this flock of automobiles, is Terry Labonte direct in front of him. In the 8th position is Bobby Allison, and the man who collects that big bonus at the halfway mark is Dale Earnhardt.
Ken, can you imagine? Now, we're only seeing 12 of the top cars running in this race today. Next Sunday, there will be 40 or 42 cars in the Daytona 500, all pretty well evenly matched, where we are going to see some kind of racing in the Daytona 500 here on CBS.
the 80 and 86 champion, is leading of this event. Dale Earnhardt, defending Winston Cup champion. He'll be going for his 4th title. Look at Davey Allison come to the bottom of the racetrack.
He's strong.
The Rainier car looking very powerful here. He'll be on the outside of the front row. He's back there in 4th at White Ford. As they stack up now, you have a Chevrolet out in front, a Pontiac in 2nd, and Ford's running 3rd and 4th. Hey, who said those Fords are going to have trouble here this year?
I don't think they're going to have any trouble. They've shown that they are very capable of running fast. You noticed how the 2 cars in front were able to pull away once they were running side by side, but you also notice how quickly Davey Allison is going to pick that up as we see them go down the backstretch. Watch him close in on those first 2.
Allison just gobbling up ground as he closes on those 2 leaders. He pulled out of the pocket, and Davey Allison closing as we move through lap 11 of the 10th annual Busch Clutch live on CBS. Davey Allison, 26 years old, has just overwhelmed Rusty Wallace to take over in 2nd place. Earnhardt out in front. Wallace is in the 3rd spot. Davey Allison now running in 2nd. Wallace has had to settle back into 3rd. Running 4th is Bill Elliott, followed by Schrader.
Actually, Wallace got out of line when Davey Allison went by. He's dropped farther back in the field now, Ken.
And here's Davey Allison in the Ford, closing up on the Chevrolet at the point. Out of turn number 4 here at the Daytona Speedway. Down out of turn number 4, a group of 9 automobiles, all bumper to bumper, back to the stripe.
Bill Elliott sitting there in 3rd place. Darrell Waltrip said at the top of the show, I believe that, no, it was Dale Earnhardt who said 2nd or 3rd was the place to be going into the winding laps. Maybe Bill Elliott's just sitting there waiting. Let's see what he can do.
And Bobby Allison has come to 4th. Bobby Allison has come up into 4th position. Remember, he was running out back in 9th, and he's been meandering up to the field, taking his time, watching the kid.
A master at drafting, too. $10,000 bonus coming up this time around.
15th lap to be completed there. And you see Earnhardt out in front, Davey Allison in 2nd. Remember, he was a rookie in this race. He and Schrader making their first performance in the clash. Back to the stripe. Give the 5 to Earnhardt. And note that Fords are running in 2nd and 3rd, Davey Allison and Bill Elliott.
Now Perry Labonte has dropped out of that 9-car draft. It's only an 8-car draft up front now. Labonte has lost the draft completely, dropping back about 2 seconds.
It's the best clash we've had. A lot of shuffling of positions all through the field. Nobody's sitting on this one. Here's Davey Allison tucked right in that 2nd spot where Earnhardt said he wanted to be.
I believe that Davey is in the position that he wants to be right now.
5th is Bodine, 6th is Wallace, 7th is Shepard, 8th is Schrader, 9th Labonte, 10th Gant, Kowicki 11th, Parsons out back. 4 to go this time by. 4 laps remaining to $50,000. Earnhardt in that beautiful Chevrolet prepared by the Childress Racing Team stays up in front. Can he stay there?
Let's look at a couple of laps down the road. Bobby Allison sitting there in the 4th position. He's in great position to help his son. If he drafts up past or beside Bill Elliott, that's going to slow Elliott's effort. It's going to open it up so that Davey Allison would have a much better shot at Dale Earnhardt on the last lap. We'll see if that happens.
3 of these clashes have been settled by a last lap pass. See if it happens here. Earnhardt passed Waltrip in 80, Bonnet passing Waltrip in 83, and Bonnet beating Buddy Baker in 84. Back to the line.
3 laps to go. Now here's Bobby Allison making his move a little earlier than I thought he might.
Bobby Allison up into 3rd spot. Davey Allison, his young son, right there in 2nd spot. What about Davey Allison's last lap strategy? This is what he told us.
I think with this new restrictor rule, I'd like to be out front. I don't think the draft will be as effective as far as the slingshot is concerned. And I think evidence of that was from last year with the 390 carburetors. The slingshot effect just wasn't there. And I don't think it'll be there now either.
It could be a battle of father and son to decide it all here this afternoon between Davey Allison and Bobby Allison. But Earnhardt is still on the point level. A lot to say about it. 2 laps to go. Here's Mike Joy.
Darrell, we know what that Ford will do and what Bobby will do, but you drive a Chevrolet much like Earnhardt's. If you're in his seat, what can you do sitting there in front?
Well, right now, it's hard to sit on a hot stove and not sweat, and that's what Earnhardt's doing. He's sweating a little bit. Right now, I think it hit the nail on the head when he said it's a father-son relationship, and Bobby Allison's going to help Davey win this race.
Can Dale do anything to move Davey's car around in that draft and upset it a bit?
Dale Earnhardt's awful tough. I give him credit for that. And if anybody can win this race, he can. He's out front, and he's going to be awful tough to get by.
Who will win it?
I'm going to say Earnhardt.
We'll see.
I think he'll do it.
White flag, 1 to go. This is it for all the money. Up to the outside, taking a peek. Davey Allison. Bobby Allison sits there. No coaching here.
I think the move will be made coming off of turn 2 and down the backstretch. They've completely left the rest of the field, so it's a 3-car battle here right now. Now here comes Bobby down on the inside. Maybe he's going to go for the win, not take his son into consideration. Now he has moved out behind Davey and pushing him in there, and David now is going to make his move, but he can't. Can he do it, Ken?
He can't get to the outside. He tries again. Bobby Allison in that Buick rides in third. Chevrolet first, Ford second, Buick third. Is this just a test run of next Sunday's Daytona 500? I believe so. Here they come to the line. Coming down for the checkers. Earnhardt is in front. Davey Allison trying to move at the stripe. It will be Dale Earnhardt winning here today in the Busch Clash. Davey Allison will take second. Bobby Allison finishing in third. Jeff Bodine in fourth, and Bill Elliott fifth.
The first man to win it 3 times. Earnhardt had 2 previous wins in this Clash run. Got out front, stayed there, and as Darrell Waltrip said, he had to be sweating, but he held on and it worked for him.
And that's the first caution-free Clash we've had since 1982. The first 4 years, nary a sign of a yellow flag. And then we had some horrendous accidents here. Ricky Rudd, Bobby Allison, a terrible crash in '83. And here's your winner, car number 3, Dale Earnhardt, after an outstanding performance in this brand new Richard Childress car. Brand new colors for him, which he's very excited about. He wants to be the man in black.
Oh, yes, he does. And he wants to be the man out front, too. And certainly he proved that he can be that. And Davey Allison hit the nail on the head, Ken, when he said that he would rather be in front because he didn't think that he was able to, with the 1-inch carburetor restrictor plate, that he would be able to pick up the momentum and draft past.
Let's take a look at how that race finished and made Dale Earnhardt $75,000 richer here this afternoon at Daytona. A very close margin among the top 3. Chris Economaki will be standing by in victory lane to greet Dale Earnhardt and get his side of this great race in just a moment.
And here's the winner. Congratulations, Dale. That was truly a beautiful drive. Close going. Was the wind a factor?
No, not at all. The car got a little loose down in that corner where the wind was blowing, but she drove good all day. Jim Goodwrench Park Chevrolet did a good job, and you know, Richard Childers and the guys did just a super job. This is a car that we were going to run in the 500, and we decided just to run it every race this week, and it's done a good job for us so far.
Dale, the guy that did the super job is the guy I'm talking with here. What about the mirror? How much time did you spend looking in the mirror?
Well, at the end there, it was quite a bit, wondering what Bobby and Davey were going to do. You know, I was all right when Davey was behind me, but when I seen his dad, Bobby, get in there, I figured they'd put that Alabama shuffle on me. But we were lucky enough to hold them off, and you know, a good clean race. Davey was trying all he could do to get by me down the end of the back straightaway, but we held him off.
I know the car ran well, but how hard did you push it?
Wide open all day. Never cracked it. You know, it was all day.
Okay, Dale, $75,000 you just made there. What about the 500 next Sunday? Does this stamp you as the favorite?
I don't know. You know, there's a lot of racing to do this week. The qualifying races and the Busch class. I mean, the Busch Grand National race on Saturday we're going to be in. So we'll see here. We're going to get this thing here tuned up and ready to race for Sunday. We'll see what happens.
Well, we'll be here. Thanks very much, Dale Earnhardt. Now let's go topside to Ken Squire.
Thank you, Chris. I think it was a test tube of next Sunday's race. Those Fords are really going to be strong, and I look for Davey Allison to really come on here. And that Schrader car, prepared by Harry Hyde, is also going to be a major factor next week. It took 15 minutes, 40 seconds, 191.4 mile-an-hour average for the 50-mile, 20-lap distance here. And let's take a look at the order of finish here briefly. Out in the front spot at the finish was car number 3, Dale Earnhardt, coming home. And coming home in that second spot as they came to the line was Davey Allison. We'll give you the complete order of finish in just a moment here at Daytona Beach. We're with you live here at Daytona Beach, and let's take a look at the final results. Dale Earnhardt puts a Chevrolet in victory lane here in the 10th annual Busch Clash, with Davey Allison coming home in the second spot, followed by his dad, then Jeff Bodine and Bill Elliott among the top 5. And there's the 6th through 10th positions, with Harry Gant starting out back and finishing in that same position. 9 cars battling right to the finish. It was a wonderful overture to the main work next Sunday, the Daytona 500. Have we learned anything here today?
I think so, Ken. I think NASCAR would certainly have to be pleased with the parity that they were trying to achieve. You have 3 different brands of cars in the first 3 positions here. It was the first real true test of the 1-inch carburetor plate, and I think that they'd have to be happy with the results here today, and I think the fans are going to be in for a tremendous show in the Daytona 500. You know, we only saw 12 cars running today. Next week we'll have 40 or 42 in the field.
A father and son story on pit road. Here's Mike Joy.
Well, Bobby Allison, you fought and clawed your way to the front, and you almost got up there.
Yeah, you know, it was taking me a little more time to get to the front than I hoped. I wanted to try to get up there with Davey and Dale and run a few laps to get the car settled back down and try to make another dive at it, but it took me a little too long to get there, and when I got there, Earnhardt had a lot more power than we thought he had. He ran awful good, and he handled good, and you know, he used a lot of racetrack. He protected his lead quite a bit the last couple laps.
Now, Darrell and I were talking during the race. The way this dance plays out on the last lap, do you need to wait for Davey to find a spot to go before you make a hole the other way?
Well, kinda. And if Davey could have got, you know, could have found room beside him, I would have gone behind Davey anyway, because my best shot would have been to then go on by Davey after he'd cleared Earnhardt.
Well, I would have bought a ticket for that one. That Ford came through the field. Now, you read the papers all week long. The Fords are down on horsepower. The Fords aren't going anywhere. Rewrite. Call rewrite.
Well, Mike, first of all, I have to say I caught a lot of lucky breaks out there, because I caught people in situations where they were either side by side with someone else and I could get on, clear them, and get back in line. And then when I got by Elliott, he got a little bit out of shape. So I caught a bunch of lucky breaks, and then right there at the end, I just did all I could do, and that was finish second.
You had a bumper full of one and a mirror full of the other.
I tell you what, it was a whole bunch of experience in front of me and behind me. I was sandwiched pretty good.
Great job. Well, Darrell Waltrip, you called the shot, and Earnhardt came home.
Yeah, well, he's real tough in a situation like that. And, you know, only thing that I thought is if Bobby and Davey could have, as he said in Victory Circle, put the Alabama shuffle on them, and they wasn't able to do it, so he comes home a winner today. But Sunday will be fun.
Well, thanks for being with us. Back up to Ken Squire and Ned Jarrett.
Ben, I was amazed at how savvy Davey Allison was out here. That was a masterful performance of drafting and staying online, not getting caught in anything that would have set him back some slots.
I think he showed a lot of true professionalism in his sophomore year on this tough Winston Cup circuit, to be able to come from as far back as he was and work his way up there to second place with a good shot to win. That fella certainly has future stardom written all over him.
How about it? Who do you pick for next week?
Oh boy, that's a wide open situation. Bill Elliott's still going to be a strong factor. So will Davey Allison, but Dale Earnhardt, as a result of being the Winston Cup champion, is still the man to beat, I think.
He sure is. Dale Earnhardt, winner here today in our live coverage of the 10th annual Busch Clash at the World Center of Speed, the Daytona International Speedway. A great race fought right to the very final line, and 3 cars coming across together. For Chris Economaki and Ned Jarrett and Mike Joy, I'm Ken Squire, saying so long from the Daytona International Speedway.